ओम श्री गणेशाय नमः। ओम श्री हिरण्यगर्भाय नमः। ओम श्री महाविष्णवे नमः। ओम श्री महादेवाय नमः। ओम श्री महादुर्गाय नमः। ओम श्री राम रामाय नमः। ओम श्री सद्गुरवे नमः। ओम सहना भवतु सहना भुनक्तु सह वीर्यङ्करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ओम शांति शांति शांति। ओम गुरुर्ब्रह्मा गुरुर्विष्णु गुरुर्देवो महेश्वरः गुरुरेव परब्रह्म तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः। समस्त जन कल्याणे निरतं करुणामयम् नमामि चिन्मयं देवं सद्गुरुं ब्रह्मविद्वरम् शंकरं शंकराचार्यं केशवं बादरायणं सूत्रभाष्यकृतौ वन्दे भगवन्तौ पुनः पुनः। श्रुतिस्मृतिपुराणानाम् आलयं करुणालयं नमामि भगवत्पादशङ्करं लोकशङ्करम्। सदाशिवसमारम्भां शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम्। ईश्वरो गुरुरात्मेति मूर्तिभेदविभागिने व्योमवद्व्याप्तदेहाय दक्षिणामूर्तये नमः। शङ्करं परमानन्दं ब्रह्मनिष्ठं यतीश्वरम् भाष्यभ्रान्तिहरं वन्दे शुद्धज्ञानैकबोधकम्। ओम नमः शिवाय 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 ओम नमः शिवाय। नमः पार्वती पतये हर हर महादेव। हरि ओम हरि ओम। We'll begin with the Shanti mantra. Om Apyayantu Mamangani Vak Pranashchakshushrotramatho Balamindriyani Cha Sarvani Sarvam Brahmopanishadam Maham Brahma Nirakuryam Ma Brahma Nirakarot अनिराकरणमस्त्वनिराकरणं मे अस्तु तदात्मनि निरतेय उपनिषत्सु धर्माः ते मयि सन्तु Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om. We'll chant the mantras from the beginning, which we have seen. We'll chant 3 mantras. Om Adhihi Bhagavati Upasasada Sanat Kumaram Narada Tagam Hovacha Yad Vettatena Nopasida Tatastau Dvam Vakshamiti Sahovacha Rigvedam Bhagavad-dhimi Yajurvedam Samavedam Atharvanam Chaturtham Itihasa Puranam Panchamam Vedanam Vedam Pitryam Rashim Daivam Nidhim Vako Vakyam Ekayanam Deva Vidyam Brahma Vidyam Bhuta Vidyam Kshatra Vidyam Nakshatra Vidyam Sarpajana Vidyam Etad Bhagavad-dhimi Soham Bhagavo Mantra Videva Asmi Na Atmavita Shrutam Hevame Bhagavad Drishebhyaha Tarati Shokam Atmavita Iti Soham Bhagavashochami Tamma Bhagavan Shokasya Param Tarayatviti Tagam Hovacha Yad Vaikincha Etat Adhyagishta Nama Eva Etat. So in this 7th chapter, we have the story of Naradji approaching his brother Sanat Kumar, and having approached him, he requested his brother to teach him that self-knowledge, Atma Vidya. So brother asked him that what you know already about this Atma, you tell me. Then I will tell you further. So Naradji gives a long list of all that he knows. Because all the shastras, their main theme is Atma only. And all our the Vidya and other kalas, they are also in tune with that Supreme Self. They also help us to make our mind pure and finally understand that Self. Therefore, most of these Vidyas and kalas were also practiced in a very holy environment. In front of the deity, the devotee or the artist will sing or dance, expressing his talent in front of Bhagwan only. So Naradji gives a long list and he says, I know all this, all the Vedas, the Itihas, Puran, grammar, logic, mathematics, the science of calamities, science of finding hidden wealth, and all ethics and all logic and all these kalas. So Naradji, when he pointed out the whole list, he further mentioned to his brother that though I have learnt all this, but I have only picked up the mantras. I know the mantras, I know the meaning of the mantras. But I have not realize that Atma. So Soham Bhagavo Mantravid Eva Asmi. Na Atmavid. I am not a Atmavid. And I have heard from people, from great enlightened masters like you, that only when one knows this Atma, one will be able to transcend all sorrow, all grief. So please take me across this grief by giving me that knowledge of my own self. So Shokasya Param Tarayatu iti. So the teacher then replied that whatever you have gained, all the knowledge which you have gained, can be just put in one word, and that is name, Nama. All that you have learned is just a name. So we are seeing this beautiful mantra, the Shankaracharyaji's Bhashya. So Shankaracharyaji in his Bhashya, he says that Naradji reveals that he only knows the mantra, but he doesn't know that Atma. But the question is that even Atma is revealed through mantra only. In whether it is the Upanishad or in Bhagavad Gita or in Brahma Sutra, through some mantras, through some words only that Atma is revealed. So if the shastras do not give us the knowledge of Atma, if after studying all the shastras, if one has not gained the knowledge of Atma, it sounds contradictory. Naradji has studied all the Vedas, which include the Upanishads, and he says that he is only Mantravid and not Atmavid. How is this possible? So Shankaracharya he replies, he says that it is quite possible that we can only gain knowledge of the form and the name. Yeah, there is some net problem, therefore it keeps on fluctuating on the Facebook. Or maybe I can just change the phone. This technology is quite beyond me. Okay, I will just do some changes. Okay. So I hope it is better now. So Naradji, how come he is only mantravit and not atmavit? Because even atma is indicated or atma jnana is given through mantras only. But here our Shankaracharya writes, though Atma Jnana is given by the mantras, but it is revealed in a totally different way. It is not revealed in the same way as other knowledge of this world is revealed. So it is pointed out in a totally different way. See, when we gain any knowledge, we use our buddhi. In the waking state, with the help of our buddhi, we gain knowledge. And when that knowledge happens, I say, I know. So, exactly what happens? Let us analyze this a little bit. Our buddhi is like a mirror. Our buddhi is like a mirror, and whatever is presented in front of the buddhi, the image of that is formed in the buddhi. And then we give a name to that image. So, what the buddhi picks up is just an image and a name. For example, this apple. When I look at this apple, I gain the knowledge that this is an apple. Through my eyes, I see it, I can touch it, I can feel it, and I gain the knowledge in the buddhi that this is an apple. But it doesn't create any difference in the apple. Apple remains as it is. Then what happens? What do we mean by knowledge? An image is formed in my buddhi, and that image I have understood is called apple. But that image and that name is not this object. That image doesn't have any taste. That image doesn't have the stuff. This apple is made up of some stuff. But our buddhi just picks up the image, and that image is given some name. That is the limitation of the buddhi. So, all knowledge which we gain in this world through our senses, the pratyaksha or anuman through inference, or upaman through comparison, or arthapatti by analyzing the effect we understand the cause, or even if we use the shastras, the shastra praman, we might just pick up images and names. The vastu cannot be picked up by the buddhi. Vastu cannot be picked up by the buddhi. So if Vastu means that object cannot be picked up by that buddhi, then how come we gain knowledge of that Atma with the help of these mantras? Shankaracharya ji raises that question again in his Bhashya. He says, Katham tarhi Atma eva adastat sa Atma ityadi shabda Atmanam pratyayanti. Then how come the Shastras, they use the term Atma also, that Atma is above, Atma is below, Atma alone is everywhere. They use the term Atma to indicate, to give the knowledge of Atma. Then how the knowledge of Atma happens if all the mantras they can give are all termed as Nam only? And a person who studies those mantras is only called Mantravit and not Atmavit. So here Shankaracharya in his Bhashya, in a most beautiful way, he tells us that how the Shastras reveal this Atma. So let us read that portion and try to understand. It's very subtle. Shankaracharya says ki naisha doshaha. This is not a defect. The Shastras, they reveal that Atma, but the method of revealing is different. So how do they reveal? He says कि देहवते प्रत्यगात्मनि भेद विषये प्रयुज्यमानः शब्दः देहादिनाम् आत्मत्वे प्रत्याख्यायमाने यत् परिशिष्टं सद अवाच्यम् अपि प्रत्याययति. Shankaracharya ji speaks briefly, but at times he elaborates also. But here he has conveyed the most subtle truth in a short sentence. He says when the scripture uses the term Atma, that term Atma is used for Pratyagatma. Dehavati Pratyagatmani Bheda Vishaye Prayujyamanaha Shabdaha. This Atma Shabda is used for the Pratyagatma. When I say Atma, when the Upanishads or the Shastras, they use the term Atma, it refers to the Pratyagatma. And what is Pratyagatma? It is that self which we experience as I, along with the body and the mind. Pratyagatma is the self which is experienced as I, along with the body and mind, means along with the Sthula Sharir and Sukshma Sharir, which is experienced as though it is existing in this body. It is existing at the innermost core of this body. Therefore, it is called Pratyak Atma. Pratyak means innermost Atma. Atma means I. Innermost I. So it is pointed out, Atma is pointed out as this Pratyak Atma. Pratyak Atma is pointed out as Atma, which is actually along with all the body, Sukshma Sharir and Sthula Sharir. But then Shankaracharya says, कि when we remove when we negate this Stula Sharir and Sukshma Sharir, Pratyagatma, in the Pratyagatma, which is experienced as I, which is as though experience existing in this body, which is different from other bodies. So there is a bheda, a difference is also experienced that I am here, I am not there. So Veda Vishaye Prayujyamanaha Shabdaha Dehadina Atmatve Pratyakhyayamane. When we negate that the notion of Deha, Stula Sharir, Sukshma Sharir, from that experience of I am, when we say I am, we mean we understand the body also. So when we remove the notion of this body, then when all this gets negated, then that pure sat which remains, the pure existence which remains, yat parishishtam means that which remains after negating all this, sat, which is sat matra, pure existence itself, avacham, which cannot be described, which doesn't have an image, which doesn't have a name also, which cannot be described, but it remains when everything is negated, then that is understood as Atma. So Atma is pointed out in the Shastras through a language of negation, not directly that this is Atma. But after negating, they point out that Pratyek Atma only, but after negating everything, that Sanmatra which remains, that is the Atma. Shankaracharya ji gives an example here कि यथा सराजिकायां दृश्यमानायां सेनायां छत्र ध्वज पताकादि व्यवहिते अदृश्यमानेऽपि राजनी एष राजा दृश्यत इति भवति. For example, a king along with his retinue is passing by. Let us say you are on some mountain and below there is this road on which the king is walking along with his soldiers and his attendants, and lot of other people are also following. So from a distance, when we see this, then somebody points out that, oh, there is the king. But the king is not seen directly. What we see are other people, and what we see in the center of all these people, an umbrella, and then there are some who are attendants who are fanning. Then we see the red carpet in front. So Chhatra, Dhwaja, we also see the Dhwaja, a flag. So when we see all this, then that the whole thing is pointed out as the king. The whole thing is pointed out as the king because the king is there. But the king himself is not seen. So when again it is asked कि शब्द प्रयोग तत्र कोसव राजा इति. Which is the king you are talking about? Then Raja Vishesha Nirupanayam Drishyamane Mana Itara Pratyakhyate Anyasmin Adrishyamane Pi Rajani Raja Pratitir Bhave Tadvat. Then everything when it gets negated, when it is pointed out that that is the king, so we say, are the soldiers the king? No, soldiers are not the king. Are those attendants the king? No. Shift your attention from the attendants also. Is that red carpet the king? No, it is not the king. Is that umbrella the king? No. Is that flag the king? No. No, no, no. Everything gets negated. But the king is there. So after negating everything, what remains is understood as the king. In the same way, when the name and the form, means when the image and the name is negated, means when we shift our attention from the image and the name, then what remains is that Atma. I hope you are understanding, but I will give you an example now. So let me give you an example of this mirror. Our buddhi is like a mirror. Our buddhi is like a mirror. And the world which is there in front of us is like this apple. Buddhi is like a mirror, and the world is like an apple. And what is Atma? Atma is like the space. The all-pervading space is the ultimate swarup of that Atma. So that all-pervading space is present in this apple, and that all-pervading space is present in this mirror. Listen carefully, and use your imagination to understand. So the all-pervading space is present in this mirror, in this apple, and it is present in this mirror also. So when the reflection of this apple happens in the mirror, the reflection of space also happens, but we don't see it because space doesn't have a form, it doesn't have a name. It is formless and nameless. It also happens, but it doesn't happen like other images. So this, our buddhi, which is like a mirror, it gains the knowledge of the world in the form of images. But very interesting, it also gains the knowledge of that Brahma which is present, which is all pervading. And it gains knowledge of that Brahma which is present in itself also. Just like space present everywhere is present in this mirror. Similarly, that Brahma which is present everywhere is present in our buddhi also. Brahma is present in our buddhi also. And Brahma is present in this world also. So when we gain knowledge of something in this world, we gain the knowledge of the image. So let us say I gain the knowledge of a tree. A tree is there in front of me. I gain the knowledge of the tree means what? An image of the tree is formed in my buddhi. So that image is named as tree. So what did I pick up? I picked up the image and I picked up the name. But neither the image nor the name is actually the tree. The tree remains outside only. But since Brahma is present everywhere, I am also picking up the image of Brahma in my buddhi. But Brahma doesn't have any color, any form. But the very nature of the buddhi is to pick up images. So the image which is picked up of Brahma, which is present in the tree, is experienced in the buddhi as is. So I say tree is, mountain is, the dog is, the cat is. So when I say the cat is, I get the image of the cat in my buddhi. I get the name cat, and I also understand that they exist. That existence also is picked up by the buddhi as is. In the same way, that existence which is everywhere is present in the buddhi also. And that which is all pervading existence, which is present in the buddhi, is picked up by the buddhi as I am. So buddhi gets two types of knowledge. Our buddhi gets two types of knowledge. One is the knowledge of the world, and another is knowledge of the self. Both knowledge happens in the buddhi. In that mirror, with buddhi, which is like a mirror, both this knowledge happens of the world and of the self. The knowledge of the world happens in the form of the various images with names, but hidden behind all this knowledge is the knowledge of is. And the buddhi also gains the knowledge of the self, which is picked up as I. I is an image of the self, and I is a name of that self. So buddhi picks up some image and which it calls I, but it also picks up the real nature of that I as am. So I say I am, that amness, that existence. Hmm. So when the scripture says you Atma, I understand myself along with all the images of myself. As the body is an image. As the mind, as the intellect, all these are images. But I am there only, hidden in those images, as am. So when I shift my attention from all these images, then what remains is the Atma, the Pratyek Atma. And that Pratyek Atma is pointed out as that Supreme Brahma. Again, when I see the world and gain the knowledge of the world, then from the world also all the images and all the names are negated. What remains is. That is which is experienced as though it is in the world, and that am which is experienced as though within is same. That which is experienced as is am. That which is experienced as am is. That is called Brahma. Am is called that Pratyek Atma. So that Pratyek Atma is Brahma. So this we come to understand through a very strange language of negation. Neti neti. Therefore, it is said that Upanishads reveal that supreme truth through a language of negation. Like the beautiful Dhyana shloka is there. Mano buddhi hankara chittani naham. That I am not mana, buddhi, chitta, hankar. I am, but I am not this. So negate means shift your attention from mana, buddhi, chitta, hankar. Mano buddhi hankara chittani naham. Nacha shrotra jivve, nacha ghrana netre. These are all the senses. I am not the senses, but I am. Nacha vyoma bhumi tejo na vayuhu. What about this world made up of these 5 elements? They are also negated. So when you negate the names and forms of which you see as the world, also negate the names and form which you see as self, what remains is the kevala sat vastu. That is pointed out as Atma. That itself is Brahma. I hope you understood what I'm saying. Huh? So Shankaracharya ji in his beautiful bhashya, that is what he says, that a person may pick up the mantra, but still that Atma might remain hidden from him. Therefore, Shankaracharya ji says that Upanishad says one should have a teacher. He says, Tatmat soham mantravid karmavid eva asmi karma karyancha sarvam vikara iti. Therefore, Naradji says that I am only mantravid, not atmavid, because he had picked up only the images with their names, which are nothing but the 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 vikar only. For example, this apple, whatever I know means whatever the intellect picks up about this apple is not that vastu. It is just an image with a name. That image with a name is a vikar. This Vastu is the reality. In the previous chapter also we had seen that Vacharambanam Vikaru Nama Theyam Mrittika Itteva Satyam. That in this, what we see as an image is called pot. That image, that form, that shape is called pot. So there is a shape which is called pot. Now suppose we keep a mirror in front of that pot. The mirror can pick up the shape, but the mirror cannot pick up the pot. It is the defect, it is the shortcoming of the mirror. Mirror can pick up the shape, which we give the name as pot, but it cannot pick up the pot. Pot remains there only. Similarly, Buddhi can pick up the shape and name of this world. And Buddhi also can pick up the shape and name of Atma. But through this name and shape, we have to understand that Brahma which is pointed out, which is different from this name and shape. Through this name and shape, we should understand the shastras are pointing out that Atma, which doesn't have any shape, which doesn't have any name. The nameless and formless Atma is pointed out using the support of name and form. Pointing out to this pot, I say this is clay. Suppose a person who doesn't know clay, I tell him that this is a clay. But he says, no, it is a pot. I say, no, what you are seeing as pot is actually clay. So remove the notion of pot, and that which is present there is called clay. Similarly, remove all the notion of forms and names. What remains there is that self, is that Brahma. So Shankaracharya ji says that this is so subtle and so very tricky. Therefore, the Shastras, he says, have mentioned कि अतः एव उक्तम आचार्यवान पुरुषो वेद. That a person who has got acharya alone will know this. In the previous mantra, we had seen that beautiful previous chapter. The beautiful example was given of that person who got lost in the desert. Person who belonged to that Gandhar Desh was blindfolded and brought far away from his hometown and left alone in a desert. He was totally lost. He started calling for help. Then a kind person came there. He removed that blindfold and asked him what happened. He says, I've been brought here by some thieves and I want to go back home. Where is your home? Gandhar. But wherever I look, everything appears same. So please tell me, how can I go to Gandhar? And that kind gentleman who knows Gandhar, he says, you go in this direction. Keep walking. It might appear you are just walking on the sand, same place, it appears same all the sides. But I know you keep walking in this direction and you will reach Gandhar. Similarly, when we approach a teacher who is from this sampradaya, who has learned this from his teacher, who has learned from his teacher, And finally, the Sampradaya begins from Ishvara. Teacher points out that Atma. He points out to that Pratyek Atma only, which is understood along with the body and mind, and then removes that all the upadis, and that which is experienced subjectively as M, not even I. I is also just a name. M is also a name, but that which is intuitively experienced as my own existence, having no name, having no form, that is who I am. And that am alone is expressing as is everywhere. And that's what Bhagwan Ramana Maharshi Ji also reveals in his beautiful Sat Darshanam. He says, कि सत् प्रत्यया किन्न विहाय संतम हृद्देश चिंता रहितोर्दाख्यः कथं स्मरामस्तममेयमेकं तस्य स्मृतिस्तत्तदृढैव निष्ठा. He says, Sat pratyaya kinnu vihaya santam. That everything, whatever you experience in this world, all the names, all the forms which you experience in this world, having some names, we also experience in every one of them this mysterious Sat, means we experience as is. When we experience this apple, our buddhi picks up the image, and that image is given a name apple. But the buddhi also picks up this mysterious thing called is. We say apple is. But what is that is? We don't know, we don't see. Whatever we see is just a form. That is not seen. Is doesn't have any shape or size or color, but it is picked up by the buddhi. Buddhi picks up the presence of Brahma in this world as is. And buddhi picks up the presence of that same Brahma within this body mind as am. That is, and this am is one only. So I am Brahma, Tattvam Asi, Aham Brahmasmi. So Shankaracharya writes कि Acharyavan Purusho Veda. Narad ji might have just learned this from some teacher who may not be enlightened. So he just picked up the forms, images, and their names. Just like we may sit and chant some mantras, like this mantra, Nirvan Shatakam, Mano Buddhi Chittani Naham and all, Mano Buddhi Hankara Chittani Naham, Chidananda Rupa Shivoham Shiva. But we will form some image in our mind. That image is not Atma. That image is not Brahma. We have to drop all images. We have to drop all names. So that which is free from all images, free from all names, that is Brahma, which is present in the world, which is present everywhere, and which is present in the images also, and present in all the names, but it is hidden. Maya tatamidam sarvam jagad avyakta murtina. Bhagavan says, I am present in this world, but I am hidden. Only a teacher will be able to point out that Ishvara is hidden everywhere. Shankaracharya further writes in his commentary, Narad ji then says, कि श्रुतम आगमत ज्ञानम अस्ति एव हि यस्मात् मे मम भगवत दृशेभ्यः युष्म sadrushebhyah tarati atikramati shokam manastapam akritartha buddhitam atmavid iti. That I have heard, Naradji says, कि I have heard from the shastras, from the teachers like you, that that tarati atmavit, that self, the one who gains knowledge of the self, he transcends all sorrow. That I have heard. I have heard this also. And this we also hear, keep hearing, the Shastras keep telling that we can transcend all sorrow only through self-knowledge. So this also we pick up as some name with some image in our head. So Naradji says, this also I have heard, that only one who has gained self-knowledge becomes free of all sorrow. Free of all sorrow means become free of all conflicts of the mind, becomes free of the sense of incompleteness in the buddhi. So I have not gained that self-knowledge. Naradji says, ki aham anatmavit. I am anatmavit. I have not gained knowledge of Atma. So aham anatmavit va he bhagavah, O Bhagwan, ki shochami, I am miserable, I am grieving. Akrutartha buddhya, because I am feeling incomplete. Santappe sarvada, I am in afflictions all the time. So tamma, to that me, shokasagarasya param antam bhagavan tarayatu. Please take me across this ocean of grief, which is called this samsara. Please take me across this ocean of grief. Atmajnana udupena, by making me sit in the boat of self-knowledge, by giving me the boat of self-knowledge, take me across the ocean of grief. Krithartha buddhi, buddhim apadayatu, make me fulfilled, make me experience that sense of complete fulfillment and contentment. Abhayam gamayitu ityartaha, make me fearless, free from all fear. So in this way, Naradji approached the teacher. Further, Shankaracharya writes, Ki tam evam uktavantam, to one who spoke in this way, ho vacha yadvai kincha etad adhyagishtaha. The teacher said that whatever you have learned, adhitavan asi, whatever you have, knowledge which you have gained of this Rigved, Yajurved, Samved, Atharvaved, Itihas, Puran, Vyakarana, etc., Adhyanena tad arthajnanam upalakshyate. Through this adhyan, that means Naradji had gained the meaning. He knows the words and he knows the meaning of those words also. So neither the meaning, neither the words nor the meaning of the words is the actual vastu. This apple, I know that image is there in my mind, and I have given that name apple to it, and I may have complete mastery over that. This apple means I may understand the intricacies of it also. I may be a great pandit, a great scholar knowing the secret of this apple, but I have not eaten the apple. I have not tasted the apple. That means I don't know the apple. I know only about the apple. Similarly, a person may know everything about the Atma, but may not know the Atma. So, Jnanavan asi iti etat, nam eva etat. So, the teacher told him that what you have picked up is only name. Vacharambanam vikaro namadheyam, just like it was given in the previous chapter, like this pot. That pot is just a name. So when you pick up that name pot, you will form an image of this pot in your antakarana. And you may think that, oh, I have gained the pot. You have not gained the pot. You have not gained the clay. The clay is there only. You are still missing the clay. Similarly, we may have gained all the words, all the sentences, but still we may miss that Atma Jnana. So, how can we gain that Atma Jnana? That the teacher systematically will point out. Starting from name, he will go to inner and inner and inner layers within us and then point out that Pratyek Atma, and through that Pratyek Atma, that Brahma will be pointed out. Very fascinating. More about this we will see in our class on Friday. Till then, you take care, be happy, safe, peaceful, healthy, do your work, do your sadhana, and see you on Friday. Hari Om. Shri Ram Jaya Ram Jaya Jaya Ram. 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 And also wish you all a very, very happy Shri Ram Navami tomorrow. Shri Ram Jaya Ram Jaya Jaya Ram. Shri Ram Jaya Ram Jaya Jaya Ram. Jaya Jaya Ram Jaya Jaya Ram. Bali Siyavar Ramchandra Bhagwan ki Jai. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vasishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Hari Om.